Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Scott here from Can Geek Games and Collectibles, welcoming you back to the Can Geek YouTube channel. And this past weekend, I had the opportunity to right what I perceived as a wrong, or more specifically, a mistake that I had made years ago. Now, we all make mistakes, right? We're human, it happens. The mistake that I made a few years ago, though, was I decided to part ways with something that I wasn't quite done with. And the opportunity arose this past weekend for me to in some way right that wrong. So myself and my wife and a couple friends were at a board game convention here in Toronto. Quick nod of the proverbial hat to the folks at Breakout for once again running a fantastic event. And while we were there, I had the opportunity to pick up this. The Classic Battletech starter box. And today, we're going to have a quick look at what's in this box. Because for me, this is nostalgic gaming at its finest. Now, before we begin, I just wanted to let you in on a little side story here. Back in the mid-90s, me and a group of friends would spend at least one day every weekend regularly trying to one-up each other playing this game. And I had amassed quite the Battletech collection over the years. Everything from the original Battletech starter kit to City Tech and the Solaris 7 box set. No end of technical readouts and you name it. But about, I guess, 18 years ago, I decided that I was done with this. And I made the mistake of selling all of this stuff to someone. And then I spent years kicking myself in the ass over this. For the small amount of money that this thing just cost me, if I even used it once, then I have just got my money's worth out of it, but I will never make the mistake of selling this thing again. So let's have a quick look at what's in the box. Starting with probably the most important thing is the bag of mechs. So there's 24 of these in total, and they're not exactly high quality. They are plastic, so I imagine they will get broken easily. But one thing is for sure, the detail on these things for plastic mechs is pretty damn good. I know some people that actually do still own this Classic Battletech box set, and they have tried to paint the mechs to varying degrees of success. I don't know if I'll even waste my time trying to paint these, but bare minimum, the detail on these things is pretty good. Now the next thing, very important to every game of Battletech, is your record sheets, your Battle Mech record sheets. So this is a 32-page book of various mechs that you can jump on the battlefield with and duke it out with your opponents. You have the quick start rule guide for those people that just want to learn the basics and jump into the game as fast as possible. For those people looking for a more detailed Battletech experience, they have the much thicker rule book. I assume that this is actually intended to replace the old Battletech compendium. The compendium was a much thicker book than this, but something tells me that this pretty much has all the information that you'll need. We have the Inner Sphere at a Glance guide. Again, if you can make that out, it's high color. It gives you the breakdown of the different hulses and the different mechs. And we're going to touch on this actually again in a minute. Then you have the painting and tactics guide. So basically telling you how they recommend you go about painting the plastic miniatures and teaching you, I assume, some basic tactics for the game for people who've never played it before. You have a couple of quick reference cards, I guess, for various sides of your table. They're double-sided. They give you the breakdown on movement and partial cover and ranges to hit, so on and so forth. And then last but not least, actually, sorry, that's not true. There is one more thing. You have two of these hex double-sided maps for gaming on. So you have basically your mountain range, and on the other side you have your forest. Now both of these maps are actually identical. This is if you want to have a running battle. Old Battletech rules were that once you left the map, you were out of the game. So, you know, if you're playing with people that don't want to give you that opportunity to run, then hey, you know what? You can have a running battle. You have obviously your 2d6 dice for rolling movement, range when firing in combat, so on and so forth. And then I'm hoping that I can get this onto the camera. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, let's see if we can do this. You have a full color map of the Inner Sphere, and the color coding on the map determines which house controls what part of the Inner Sphere. Now, to that point, much like Dungeons and Dragons and, you know, games like that, when FASA created Battletech in 1984, the game had such a success and such a following behind it that it spawned an entire universe of stories and mythology, you know, for people that were into that. No end of novels were written detailing the adventures of different fictional characters. Different stories were told in each novel. You have a 5-house system that makes up the Inner Sphere, where a different house controls a different part of the known universe. And it just sort of branched out from there. What started out as a military tactical game turned into almost mid to high level sci-fi when they introduced the Return of the Clans in 3050 and 3055 in the Battletech universe. It took the existing Battletech game and it literally turned it upside down, because when the mythological clans returned, they returned with high-end battle mechs and weapons that you couldn't hope to match within the Inner Sphere. And it just kept players coming back. Now, part of the reason I actually chose to pick this up last weekend is I'm going to give another nod right now to the folks over at Harebrained Schemes. Harebrained Schemes, for those of you who don't know, they're a software developer that has been doing a fantastic job over the course of the last, I guess, 5 years now, of rekindling and re-envisioning the spark of my childhood. They brought back Shadowrun, specifically Shadowrun Returns as a PC title. Then they did Shadowrun Dragonfall, and then they did Shadowrun Hong Kong, all turn-based RPGs, which are available on Steam and both the Android and the iOS. And they did a top-notch job with these games. And then when they were done with Shadowrun, they turned around and said, okay, we're launching another Kickstarter and we're going to do Battletech. Except we're going to do Battletech right. Now, I jumped in on the ground floor of that Kickstarter, and luckily that game is coming out in May now, so I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It's going to have, your PvP option for people that want to play online. It's also going to have a turn-based RPG option returning to the Mech Warrior genre. And I'm really looking forward to this game. So, again, as I said, if I only get a chance to play the tabletop version of Battletech once, then it was worth the money that I invested back into buying this back. But, yeah, that is the Battletech Classic box set, now put out by Catalyst Games, being licensed from WizKids, who now own the rights to Battletech, now that FAST is no longer in business. If you get an opportunity to play the game, I highly recommend you get some friends together and give it a play. If you get an opportunity to play the new Battletech game coming out from Harebrained Schemes, I'm highly endorsing this game. And in the meantime, I'd actually like to invite you all to leave us a comment down below. Let us know what game you played, say as a teenager or into your early 20s, whether you still own the game or not. And if you want to share any memories you have of that experience with us, we'd love to hear about that as well. Until then, I want to thank you as always for joining us here on the Can Geek YouTube channel. Please check back soon for another video. In the meantime, I hope everyone has an amazing week and an amazing weekend. Get out there and game, and we'll talk again soon. Ciao for now.